Tim's car is now up for judging. Are there butterflies in his stomach? No. This Camaro nut is a 100% red-blooded, fuel-injected, all-American competitor. He knows his hard work will pay off.
As far as the judges and what they look at, and I understand that they're all looking at certain things, and to me, I try to keep myself out of the picture as much as I possibly can. I just want them to be fair. I want them to be impartial. I want them to give me an honest opinion of what the car is. It helps me for the next competition, and hopefully when it's all said and done, I come away with some appreciation of the show and maybe an award.
Just when you thought your car was clean enough, in come the judges. What do they look for? Bruce, the most experienced judge at the show, shed some light.
Well, we look for many things. First of all, we look for first overall impression. When this car drives up, how does it look? Does it just blow us away? Secondly, we ask the competitors to open up all the doors, the trunk, and the engines. Then we do the interior of the car, and we're looking for the person who spent the most time with the toothbrush and the toothpick and the Q-tip, cleaning out in the nooks and crannies. After we do the interior, then we do the trunk. Something very stock is very nice to see, but we see some customization depending on what class it is. So after we move from the trunk, then we'll look in the engine bay. Very tough to judge engine bays because a lot of people have different concepts of what they should do to the engine bay. But once again, it comes down to the neat and tidy aspect of it. Valve covers, intakes, hinges, rads. We even go so technical to look for bugs in the radiator. After we do the engine bay, then we'll look at the underbody of the car. There's people who actually jack their car up 4 days in advance, and they spend four or 5 days underneath the car, spit and polishing. Stainless steel's as bright as the outer chrome on the car. We'll look for the wheels, the wheel wells, where they shine up polished.
Now, if the judges are that picky, is there such a thing as a perfect car?
On our scorecards, we start with 200 points, so a car is perfect when it arrives to our tent. When it leaves, we've added demerit points for it. And that's basically what we do as a judge.
You have to wait till the end.
Oh, thanks.
I haven't let
Well, judging has been completed, and I'm feeling good, relieved. I guess is probably the best way to put it. It's always strenuous, stressful, going through judging, but you make out of it what you really want. I enjoy the competition. It's always nice to see how I compare to my counterparts at the shows, so I enjoy it.
There are two main types of competitors, those who drive their cars and those who don't. Chances are, those who drive their cars love to modify it. Those who don't drive it normally like it just the way they bought it. Completely stock. Bill is one of those guys.
This is a 1980 Z28. It's totally original except for the battery and the oil, an oil filter. My friend ordered it brand new in 1980. He was a dealer, and probably in the mid-80s, about 85, he sold his business, and this car had been sitting in his shop untouched since he bought it new, and he offered it to me, so I bought it. It has 6,000 original kilometers on it. It's rather unique because I've never seen another white one with the gold stripes. Apparently there's 6 or 9 of them, I'm not sure how many. It has won Best Original Camaro 2 or 3 years in a row. It's a pretty decent car.
Dave's Z28 is another example of stock, from the tires right to the windshield wipers.
My car is a 1983 Chevy Camaro Z28, and I've owned it for about 17 years. I bought it when I was a teenager. The car is bone stock. That's really what I pride myself in. This car has the original tires on it, the original wiper blades. It has the original exhaust on it still. Everything that came from the factory is still on this car. This car doesn't see much road time. I think last year I didn't even put 500 kilometers on it. 2 years ago I placed first overall in third generation Camaros and first in my class. Last year I was second, and who knows this year.
On the other side of the spectrum, Dan has taken his car to a whole new level. His V6, which used to be all show and no-go, is now one of the fastest cars at the event. he just installed a supercharger on this 3.4-liter engine.
This is the 10th year I've had the car, and like everybody else around here, you start doing one thing then another, and I started with the basic mods of, cold air intake and exhaust. Of course, that wasn't enough, and ended up looking to find a company who can do supercharging. The supercharger is similar to a turbo in that it takes the air from the outside, and through the use of the driveline pulleys, it spins it. So if you can think of forcing air into the motor, that's what it does. So the motor sitting here without a supercharger would have the ability of 1 atmosphere worth of pressure on it. With a supercharger, it can spin up to, 1.5 atmospheres, almost 2 atmospheres. You actually can get pretty decent gas mileage if you keep your foot out of it.
Aside from showcasing the Camaro, this show offers other types of smaller, more relaxed competitions. This year's sound competition is an annual event where participants with aftermarket audio gear can show off their ice. A silent auction in support of Spina Bifida offers some friendly competition between intense buyers. And lastly, a car show wouldn't be perfect unless you could drive someone else's car. Blindfolded.
Whoa, Marcia, not this year.
All of this wouldn't be a success without the work of show director Ron.
I bought a Camaro about 14, 15 years ago, and I happened to meet the president of the Camaro Club at the time, and he invited me to join the club. So I've been a member now for 14 years, and 2 years ago the club asked me to join the executive and help out with some of the organizational duties. So they gave me the position of show director. We've got very good feedback from participants this year. They're very happy with how the show went. We've got 233 cars. We're ahead of last year, and if it wasn't for the weather, we probably could have hit 250.
After the break, we'll learn a bit more about Tim's competition, like this 1969 Dickie Harrell 427. Will Tim go home with a trophy? We'll let you know when we come back.